Why, Odie, it's a moment in time.
Don't be surprised.
Ah.
Every moment
Is a moment in
is a
time.
moment in time.
I'm going to come join you.
Yeah. Well, when you do that, please do one thing, first of all.
What's that?
Tell me what this is that you have on.
This is a lovely dress from...
It is a lovely dress.
From Queen Jewel.
Queen Jewel.
Right, and...
You've inherited it from your mother.
I have inherited it from my mother.
Oh, wow.
Just a little cozy here next to you.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I mean, you know. Well, here's what I had in mind to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if I can take my eyes off you, I can talk. But on a serious level, I started thinking about masters.
Masters?
Masters, okay. We've all had them and not recognized them, maybe. Maybe sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay.
But it occurred to me that I may not have been given my masters enough credit, so this is a kind of little shout out to them.
That's good.
Who are here and those who are not here in physical terms but are here spiritually.
Yes.
And
I love my husband and he loves me.
if I could pawn you, a whole lot. But keep your dress on. Keep your dress on.
What does he say?
Going right along. I love beautiful clothes.
Likewise.
It occurred to me that in another epic, another saga, in another compendium of pages, I've listed people I thought were my masters. And the first shout out always. Could you give me that book there, Dr. Margaret Burroughs?
Oh, of course.
I'll always have to credit this incredible woman with giving me the will and the urge, who opened up the possibilities of me becoming a writer.
Right.
Now, whether I become a world famous writer or not a world famous writer, the important thing is that she saw the possibilities and said to me, you don't have to go to jail, you can write. This is Dr. Margaret Burroughs, who was my high school teacher. I was 15, and she established the first museum of African American history in the country called the DuSable Museum of African American History, located in Chicago, Illinois. So I'll start with her. She was not a master, she was a mentor. Now we get into masters, and you know, I don't know, I think it woke me up in the middle of the night, last night or the night before. Last night, night before, 24 hours, that's my thing, you know, do that.
Okay.
Anyway, it woke me up. I thought, you know, you owe so many people so much for being alive right now at 83. I got one coming up in July, and I'm looking forward to it. 84, oh Lord have mercy. I didn't thought I was going to get to be 14.
Celebrate.
You know, and then all of a sudden I look up and, you know, you start, there's a beautiful movie called Wild Strawberries by Ingmar Bergman, the Swedish movie maker. And he has an old man revisiting his youth and what happened, so forth and so on. I think maybe all that happens to all of us when you reach a certain age.
A life unexamined is not
worth living. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone should take time to examine their life from where they are now, where they come, and where they want to go.
Okay, but would you believe maybe they're Trump people or something? But I've run into people who said things like, why examine it? It's already done. It's gone.
No, it's
Okay,
like
well, yeah.
like roots to the tree. You know, you have to have good roots to keep growing. And you
Yes.
have to know your roots to keep growing.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, without knowing, you know, you could just simply be watering a desert and never have anything come up. Well, evidently, whoever was doing the watering, in my case, started doing it real well, real soon. And I'm calling them masters because in the tribal sense of the word, this is what you come up with. This is the chief.
Yes.
This is the master.
Yes.
The first one I can think of is a man named Sugar Ray Robinson,
Oh,
who might be familiar to
right.
some boxing fans who can remember when boxing was boxing and not half wrestling and half, I don't know what it is.
Not just entertainment.
Yeah, it's just entertainment.
Yeah, not just entertainment.
A
as
couple
it
of
is
people.
Today. Right. Yeah.
We look at the Floyd Mayweather fight the other night with some giant guy, and it was just simply, you know, to bring 35,000 people in and make umpteen $1 million worth of money and so forth. You know, okay, that's your business, that's okay. But I think back to Sugar Ray Robinson as something like an avatar for those of us who are interested in boxing. At one point in my life, I started out being, you know, a boxer. I was middleweight, I was the right size, right shape. I had the right attitude. Stupid. Hit me. You can't knock me out. Hit me right here. Hit me right here.
I can, yeah.
But then I'm gonna hit you. And of course we had people around in gyms. One of the gyms I went to was called the Eddie Nichols Gym. I believe it's on Michigan Avenue.
Okay.
Where you went in and they just salivated when they saw 15-year-old boys come in who were invincible.
Yes.
Or so we thought. That's what we thought, right? You know, the guy.
You leave home and your mother should worry because you think you're invincible and she knows you're not.
She knows you're not. The only person who can tell you the truth, really, you're not invincible.
Thank you. Okay.
But here's the managers. They had several guys. They're almost caricatures out of something like on the waterfront or something. They're smoking cigars. You walk in, look around. I got my little gym bag, you know, and the guy who was, I don't know what he was. In this case, a man named Little George. You know something about the story.
Yes, I know.
What do you want, kid? So, you know, where can I change my clothes? I want to, who do I pay to? I want to train a little bit. So you don't have to pay nothing, you know. What grade you in? I'm a sophomore high school. Yeah, you know, go back there in the locker room. This guy kept the place clean, you know, but it was still a gym.
Right.
I come out, I got my little stuff on, and I don't know what to do, right?
Yes, yes.
That big bag that they punch,
Oh my goodness.
that thing is heavy.
Yes, and hard.
And hard. It feels
Yeah,
like it's filled
hard.
with sand or something. So I look up, you know, I go over and,
It's punching back.
it's not moving. When I see it in the movie, and I saw Joe Louis and people like
Somebody
that.
holding it behind, right?
Okay,
They
well,
got it
yeah,
right there.
Sugar Ray Robinson, he was punching the back. Somebody comes over and say, you know, no, don't do it like that. You know, do this, do this.
And put your body into it.
Put your body into it.
Right, okay. Yes.
You could have been a contender.
I could have been a contender.
You could have been a contender.
Next life.
I can see it now. Lil Zola versus Big Jane or something. You'd have killed her.
There you go. There you go.
The guy comes over. This is a real story. We tell it, right?
I know.
The guy comes over, say, hey, you know, what are you doing? I want to box. So okay, I'll tell you what. You know, my name is John Smith. I could be your manager. manager. I just got
That's
here.
it, right. I don't even know how to put the gloves on.
Yeah. So let me see a little bit of what you got. Well, okay. I've been in a number of street fights. I had bitten a guys in the cheek. I had kneed a few people in the balls. It's very different from organized boxing. Where you
Professional.
There's limits. You don't hit below the belt. You don't do this. You don't do that.
And you don't bite anything off or bite. No biting.
Get close enough, bite him. That was
On the street. On the street.
On the street.
Not,
okay. Well,
yeah.
That was one of the first things that I was being disabused of.
Right.
Forget that stuff. We're going to put together some combinations, and we're going to have you do this and do that. So I came in the next day, and the same guy come up, say, I want to see you do left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right. Okay, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right. Hey, that's good, that's good. I want you to go start from down at the tummy here, and build all the way up to the chin with uppercut. Oh, okay. And it went on, and gradually, like over a period of about a month,
right.
I was doing.
You weren't telegraphing your hits.
Oh,
you were
no,
just
no,
you got it. You were protecting yourself. Okay.
Okay, you're a gymnast, so it means you have to start off on the right foot to wind up on the right foot.
Exactly.
And that was news to me because I was hitting off to any foot.
Okay.
I was jumping up in the air. Hit him, shit.
Come down here, bend down,
Yeah.
so I can hit you.
Well, being short, most of the people I was boxing in the street with were taller than I was, so I had gotten used to coming off my feet to hit them, and I did it.
Right.
Some of the bigger guys didn't want to box with me anymore. You're too aggressive.
He was definitely aggressive. Okay. Why are we fighting? Excuse me.
What are we doing this for?
Right. Can we dance?
Can we dance? I'm gonna whip through this first master real clever. Like as I say, Sugar Ray Robinson was the archon, the shining halo above us all.
Right, yeah.
Possibly we could become Sugar Ray Robinson and conk our hair and beat people up and earn a lot of money. After about a month, this so-called manager said, "Listen, how about next week you want to get in there and kick it around and knock it around a little bit with Little George?" So who was Little George? The guy over there sweeping the floor. This little narrow man, this little small man, who had a bald head, had an indeterminate age. He could have been 83 or 86. But he was certainly old.
Yes.
And I'm looking at him. So, what I'm supposed to do? So, next week you got your combination design. You got you got a real solid right hand, and you're fast, kid. You're fast. So we're gonna put you in the ring with Little George. Give you 3 rounds. What do you say? You mean it's him? Yeah. Little George is sweeping up the floor. So it's on y'all. I mean, if I hurt him and send him to the hospital and stuff, then, what's going to happen? Well, don't worry about it, kid. We'll take care of that.
In reverse. Do not judge a book by its cover. Okay?
Come next week, I bounce in, I feel like James Cagney and White Heat or something,
Right.
Look, Ma, I'm on top of the world.
Get ready to go.
It's okay, go on in there and change. And I looked up and little George put his broom down and he's stepping over in the corner with his t-shirt on and just a pair of regular khaki pants.
Okay.
Like I got on. I'm thinking, well, he ain't even dressed about me. I'm going to get rid of him quick. 3 rounds.
Little respect, okay?
No
give
respect.
Me respect. Gotta give me respect.
He's little old. Hey, Hey, give me somebody to fight.
Uh-huh. Hi.
Ding! We come out. I'm looking all over the ring for little George. I can't find him nowhere. He's behind me. Oh, he's right. I circle around, and I got him in the corner. And suddenly I'm beating my fist up against the ring post because little George has made a move down and around behind me. God damn, he's spending more time behind me. And when he went behind me, all he did was pepper me.
Right.
The saving grace is the fact that he had a power puff punch. He was so old, he had no power.
Okay.
But he could hit me any way he wanted
And
to.
he was quick.
And he was quick.
Okay.
He was so practiced, he would do little combinations like he was thinking about, let me see, 2 plus 2, 4 plus 4. Boo-doo-doo-doo, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And first round. You're doing him in, kid. You're doing him in. Keep it up, and you'll have him on the run.
Yeah, right.
Who are you talking about? I can't even find him.
Let's hit him.
Round 2. Bing! I go out into the ring, and okay, I managed to almost hit him. I managed to almost hit him again. And all he's doing is standing in place. There's a thing that you do, bobbing and weaving. That's the professional thing. He was just standing there and bob and weave. And I'm throwing left and right.
Angry and out of control.
Yes.
Which, if you're going to fight, even I know, if you're going to fight, you must stay in control.
Yeah. I didn't even understand. All I understood is that I'm the brute force in here.
Yes.
And he says, I'm the shadow.
Yes.
Can the brute force find the shadow? Meanwhile, he's peppering me. I open up to do this, and he goes, it's like somebody stitch you in the face with a little soft cloth.
Powder puff.
The round ends, I go to my corner. I'm saying to the manager, you know, why is it I can't hit this guy? I mean, I'm
Is he a figment of my imagination?
What is causing the problem? The manager says, well, you got to find him, kid. And when you find him, annihilate him. Okay. Third round, right? The longest round that ever was.
I'm sure.
I cornered him. And I attempted to annihilate him, but mostly it was air that I annihilated.
Okay, because he ducked.
He dodged, he weaved, and he was smiling at me.
I'm sure he was.
That really proved he had a couple of teeth. He got so intimate I could see his mouth. He had a couple of teeth missing. And the round came, things at the end, and, you know, he nice guy. He put his arm around. So, you know, you got a lot of energy. You got a wonderful left hook and right cross, and you know, if you stick with it, you could be something. You know. He goes out of the ring.
Not even sweating.
Not even sweating.
Right. Okay.
Picks up his push broom and starts. I go over to my corner with the would-be manager, who was charlatan. He was a charlatan.
Yeah.
You look marvelous. You could be. Hey, I know I got the next middleweight champion of the world. Of the world? Well, at least Chicago. So, what are you going to do? You going to get serious? So, you know, I'm listening to him now. Make a long story short, I need to go back.
Yes.
Because I discovered, you know, I thought to myself, if this little man who could pepper me with these powder puff punches and couldn't hurt me, what would happen if he had had some real power?
Thank you.
And I'm at the stage.
Thinking for a change.
I was thinking.
Okay.
So I always box. I like boxing till this day, even though I think it should be abolished. It's a brutal, mean, crazy idea that two men could get in the ring and one could knock the other senseless in order to be considered a winner. But there's the dichotomy. That's the ambiguity that operates in every sports fan.
Yes.
Where you know the end result is having somebody hurt. I'll let that rest.
All right.
So I gave up boxing, but I was
Glad you did.
I was encouraged to get into it by the inimitable Sugar Ray Robinson. Now I'm going to go to another place, and the reason I've written this down is because it sticks in my memory. It kind of like
your
that.
roadmap. Okay.
I don't know where I heard it or when I heard it. I think it was in Washington Park in the summertime when I was maybe 12, something like that. And I went out there in that jungle humidity in Chicago that we have. And there were two black guys sitting on a park bench. One was a sort of muscular kind of guy. He had two congas. And the other one sitting beside him was a man who looked like a man named Carlos Patato Valdez. Those who know who I'm talking about when I say Patato will know what he was. A little small. They call him Patato because he wasn't.
So was it Patato?
It wasn't. It was just in Cuba. He came from Cuba, and they were suffering from malnutrition. So a lot of people didn't grow up. They're not midgets. They just became small, malnourished people, but they still had the strength. And these two guys would play, one with the congas and the other with the bongos. And I had never seen anybody play bongos like a piano, you know. I mean, it was like his fingers were running all of it. So I became enchanted by the congas and the bongos, but most of the bongos, I mean the congas. I couldn't see myself playing bongos. It was just too much. And there was something that was starting an interest in the art of playing the conga, which comes from Africa, of course, from some place called the Congo. And I think in a way I initiated myself because I've been teaching, being self-teaching from that time up to this time.
Exactly.
The point I'm making about this having to do with dealing with masters is that every time I wanted to learn something about the conga drum, I would begin to focus on a master. I started off with a man named Chano Pozo. This goes way back when Chano Pozo was brought into the Dizzy Gillespie band to give some Afro-Cuban percussion to the band. And he was marvelous and incredible, you know. He's playing a conga drum over his shoulder like, you know, what we might have thought it was Tarzan or something, but he wasn't. Okay, I thought, okay, he's somebody to start with. I looked up and I discovered Mongo Santamaria, you know, who was playing music from the Santeria tradition early on. It's funny because he had albums, and at the beginning he would just play popular charangas and mambos and this and that. But in the second half of the record, he would always play religious music, African religious, liturgical music. Mongo Santamaria. Well, who's next? I looked up one night, I was in Chicago and went into the Trianon Ballroom, and I believe Tito Puente or somebody was playing, and the drummer playing with him was a man named Armando Peraza. Armando.
Oh.
This is in the 50s.
My goodness. Was he married to Josephina?
I don't think so. He wasn't married at all then. Or if he was, he had more than one wife in more than one city. Because he was a very busy man. But, you know, like musicians, well, you know, one day he's in Scotland, the next day he's in Germany, the next day he's When I went into the Trianon Ballroom and I looked up and he was sitting at the edge of the stage playing bongos. And Armando two bongo players. One of them was a man named Buyu. They were so entertaining at the same time, so educational that if you went to see them, you would, and you were interested in percussion and drumming, they were like living lessons.
Right.
I came and stood in front of Armando, and he looked at me like, "You see what I'm doing?" And, okay, I see that. You see that? No, I didn't see that.
Let me do it again.
And he did it, and again, till I said, okay, I kind of see that. I wound up following Armando around for like 25 years or longer. If I found out wherever he was, especially when I got to the West Coast, if he was at the Matador Room in San Francisco, I would find a reason to be at the Matador Room. Or Shelley's Manhole up in Hollywood, or the Lighthouse on Hermosa Beach when he was playing with Cal Jada. And gradually we got to be friends. I didn't expect us to be buddies because he's running around the world. But whenever I could call him, or whenever we got together, we would go out and, have coffee together, and he'd talk to me. He's a very entertaining, very interesting person.
Though he talked all up into your face.
I think that has something to do with I think he was growing deaf.
Right.
And, from playing with, he played 17 years with Santana. And having that kind of music and playing the drums too. So he didn't have the best hearing in the world. But he gave me valuable hints. I'm an excellent self-taught conguero. I can play with anybody. But I don't know anything about music formally. And it stemmed from these people I'm calling my masters. Of course, I had a moment or two with Francisco Aguabella.
The workman.
The workman who will work you to death. And his playing always was less exciting to me than Armando, because Armando was theatrical and, could...
Well, he didn't take no mess. I mean, he knew how to play and give you your respect, like say with Santana. Okay, all right, you done that? You done? Okay, well, let me get.
Yeah.
Okay, so he would get into it.
He did all these things. Conga. I went from that time. Armando, as you know, died a few years back. But he has left us with the legacy of what he played. Right. And, I feed on it every time I pick up a conga drum and I start playing something. It's reached the point where I really don't have anybody to play with. I recently wound up with 2 people to play with, but we soon settled into a kind of situation.
Right. Well, COVID didn't help.
Well, that didn't help.
Right.
But aside from that, the young woman who joined the class was a pure amateur. She was interested in the drum. And she could play as well as she could play, which meant that she had a few rhythms that she knew. The other was the brother who was playing, who had some very nice wah-wah-toes he was playing. And then there's Wild Odie.
Yes.
And I think
always Wild Odie.
I think I scared him away from me.
Well, like I said, COVID came and we decided we would not get together until everybody gets vaccinated. Yeah, well, everybody's vaccinated, and and they had the time. Okay. Because lives became complicated because of the pandemic.
I have no doubt that we will get back together again.
Eventually.
Because we made a nice little trio. She's learning. He knows more than she does. And I know more than both of them. But at the same time, I hopefully not arrogant about it.
You just, when you play, you would just get so happy.
Well, I didn't want to sit up there and wind up playing the same rhythm for 30 minutes. And I've been a part of that. At Griffith Park, Lamert Park, all the park you can think about. We're better than that. We're better than that. Okay, concerning the masters, I'm going to jump away from there to go to these other masters. you know, I look up and I discovered that I wanted to do some Asian martial arts. And lo and behold, there was an Asian martial arts studio opening right down the street from me. I was living on 17th Street, right off of Arlington, here in LA. I'm passing by this man's studio. It looks about as big as this room. He was making it. Small Korean man, about 4'9", not a quarter, but 4'9". Who looked like
taller than me.
He looked like a nail to me. He just everything about him was. He was a Hapkido master. He said, "Come in." He told me his English was almost non-existent. He says to me, you know, tomorrow, Dobok class.
Basics.
$30 only. $30 for a month. Okay. I had no idea what Hapkido was. The next day I had the white suit, and we went into this little studio that he had made. I mean, from the ground up, there were some ribs in the floor.
Okay, so he used like Kleenex boxes.
He used Kleenex boxes and covered it all with a canvas. And that's where we went. And within, I was his only student for a year. People came in. He gave the first introductory free lesson. And since he was not a businessman, in the first lesson he did what he did to them what he did to me. It's called serving the sauce at one temperature, hot. He didn't modify it. He didn't make tomato paste out of it. It was habanero hot.
Okay. If you want to come up in here, we're going to learn how. That's what I appreciate about like Master Tom. Okay, Master Tom Tran, when we first went in 2003 at the temple on 10th and Orange, he was fierce. Sometimes he would come right up into my face to chastise me for not doing it correctly. And what it did was make me want to do it better. Not to quit, but to make it do better.
But T, that's a testimonial to your intestinal fortitude.
Yes.
They always say that you don't beat the dog who shrinks away with his tail between his legs. You beat the champion. The other analogy is that they take a winning football team and they're in the dressing room and the coach is dressing them down. You guys are not doing this, not doing that. The score is 43-3 in favor of them.
Right.
But he knows that if he starts praising them, they'll become complacent. They'll become get sloppy. So Master Tom, I think, if my psychological understanding of what he was doing was, I'll make you better by making you understand you're not doing it perfectly.
Well, that, and then today I had to laugh because he said to me, Zola, I think you're getting old. I was like, okay. I went to bed at 12:30 in the morning.
What were you doing to make him say that?
I don't know. I think I was trying to follow Steve, and and he, and Steve, is a great instructor, but when you're used to doing it at your own pace, okay. Yeah. So I fall behind, and then like when we were doing the Tao, I was ahead, and then I would stop to wait for Steve.
Well, no, I saw that. I was standing. I was standing over the side. And what was happening, to be really honest with you, is that you were just simply doing at the pace that you always did it when you were doing it by yourself.
Yeah, and the thing is that since others were watching me, trying to watch me, to learn, I wanted to do it in tune with what Steve was doing. Okay, even though in the old days, when we were at the temple, Master Tom said, keep going, don't stop, okay? Anyway, it was interesting. I had to smile. Just tired today, Master Tom.
It's part of her personality to be nice to people, and that's what we are. at the temple. Well, I was at me in Hapkido.
Yeah.
I'll come to Tai Chi when we get there. After a year, Mr. Young Bai Lee's business acumen declined to the point where he was about to go bankrupt. He sold his business to a man named Mr. Wan Chan Lee. He's a Korean buddy. Wan Chan Lee was an excellent teacher, except that he was not Young Bai Lee. He was not a tough guy. Very smooth, very cool. But he was a master, and he continued the Hapkido. Hapkido is very much, I think it's like Korean Aikido, the Japanese form. You use other people's energy. There's not a lot of fighting.
Okay.
You don't punch a lot. You grapple.
Right.
And it's almost like body push hands.
Oh, push hands, okay.
You grab the person, he grabs you.
Okay, I'm wondering, who was the son that we found on Facebook that contacted
That was the Taekwondo master. Okay, what she's doing is taking us ahead, thank goodness, right now, because it's about to come to an end. Bear with me for a minute.
Okay.
When you get into reminiscences about your masters, if you had the experience I've had, it would take you months. Believe me, I'm short-circuiting this to the point. Hapkido, he sold out to Wan Chan Lee. Wan Chan Lee bellied up, and one day he took about 10 of us. By now it was 8 Koreans and myself, 9 Koreans and myself. He took us over like a little chain gang over to Master Young Kil Kim and said, okay, now you all belong to him. You pay your fees to him. I didn't even know the difference. I thought, well, we're here.
One school to another school.
Okay, except the little school we'd been in was about as big as this room. Now we're in a big place, a Santa Monica place. I think it had been looked like an airplane hangar or something. Young Kil Kim is one of the establishing Taekwondo masters of Taekwondo in America and so forth. His major student was a man named Raymond De Silva.
Ah, yes. If Raymond De Silva is out there, contact Odie on his Facebook. We'd love to hear from you.
I went in and I spent 6 years there. It was not a black belt conveyor belt organization. You had to earn a black belt. I wasn't there to earn the black belt. Again, first of all, I wasn't into that kind of hierarchy. I was just basically, as a writer, going to get some exercise rather than just sit on my ass all night long.
And also to do the best you can, as opposed to now people have an attitude, if I show up at the school, you should go ahead and give me a new belt.
If I paid you my fee?
If I paid you my, yeah, right. Forget the fact that you need to know the material, you need to know how to do it.
I'll give you a wonderful example. They had a young man come in, a little white kid, about 12 years old, and his parents were so super proud of him, it was unbelievable, and I was witness to it. They wanted to have him, he was a black belt.
From the prior school.
From some other school, from some other dojang. And the Master Kim, Young Kil Kim, is asking him, how does he become a black belt? They said, the parents, father, mother, beaming, well, he was the best and he did the best in the competition and this and this and that. He says, he's a young man. Could he give advice to a couple who were having problems with their marriage?
Right.
And I remember this.
12 years old, yes.
12 years old. And they were looking like, oh, but he's a black belt. He said, no.
The physical is one thing.
Black good black belt. But could he give good advice to somebody who has, let's say, a mental problem? Could he give you good advice? I'm standing over on the side listening to this. Like, Raymond's standing over here looking at me like he was. You see what black belt means? Black belt only means that you are fertile dirt and things may grow in it. They had misunderstood. They thought because he became a black belt and he could move fast as Bruce Lee, that meant something. And of course, physically it does mean something, but he was bringing psychological element, which is is he mature enough to know when not to fight?
Well said.
You know, that's the thing. Well, make a long story short, they snatched the kid out right away because they didn't want that. But what I found out in the years that I spent, 6 years, I was supposed to get a black belt after the second year because I was coming from Hapkido. And I had come to the red belt level in Hapkido, and the next belt is black.
Right.
This is when he sold the business. Now I'm there, and I'm starting for the white belt all over again.
Right.
Which means I was kicking everybody's ass because I was way ahead of them, but I had to start in kindergarten and graduate. It didn't take long, but I went from the white belt to the yellow, to the blue, to the red, to the brown, and then the next is black. Right. And I went up, but they took 6 years for me to do it because they knew the minute I got the black belt, I was going to split.
Well, also, as soon as you got the black belt, you loaned the black belt to a person you thought would return it, and they didn't. And so, consequently, we would love for you to get another black belt for your efforts.
It took a week to give me the belt because they couldn't figure out how to spell my name
in Korean.
You know, there are no Odies. You know, I want to jump right back for just a moment. Talk about another master that I missed, and I'm sure there's been more than one. This was a man named Mosheh Milan up in Oakland. Okay. And I got into a formal class with Mosheh, learning something called the Couture. And I'll give you one quick example of what Couture can be like. I'm using this as an example. As a drum, okay. As a drum. Right. It's not a drum. It's a tambourine. Okay. In Couture, you take a stick with your right hand. You can't see, but the idea is you can. Here's the idea. Yeah. They can't see you, but okay. You'll hear me. Okay. You take the stick with your right hand, and with your left hand you play on this drum that you can't see, kumba. And on the right hand you play ding da. Just 4 notes, period. Okay? But this is Couture drumming. The Indingo, which is a small drum, will play Kumba Ding Da. The middle drum may play something else, like Ba Ding Kum, Ba Ding Kum. Kumba Ding Da. Okay, follow me. So you begin to reverse it. The mathematical possibilities are almost infinite. You can play kumba ding da, kumba ding da, or da, ding, da, kum. Or you can play ding, kum, ding da. Or you can play ding da, ding da, ding da, ding. Several variations.
Lots of variations.
Bunch of methods. So I never learned all that I should have learned, but I have to say something about what it was like to be with a master like Mosheh Milan, who was very patient, very sarcastic, like masters can be.
Yes,
My brother, what are you playing? I don't know.
Didn't it sound good?
I don't know. He said, why don't you play Kumba Dinga? I thought that's what I was playing. Wrong again. He used to make jokes with things like, what's up, Doc? Like the cartoon.
Right.
What's up, Doc?
Yes. Yes.
Marvelous teacher, and I miss him very much.
Yeah.
I'm going to race right away from that because our time is running out.
Yes.
We only got 5 minutes.
Real quick, in the 5 minutes that are left, name, after Dr. Margaret Burroughs, name the masters that you have had in capoeira.
Oh, good God. Let me start there.
Okay.
Capoeira Regional and Capoeira Angola. After having left Taekwondo, after 6 years, I wanted to do something that I thought would be more me. And lo and behold, an old friend of mine named Cedric Adams said, hey, look, brother, this brother just got here from Rio, and he's teaching capoeira. I knew what it was, but I didn't know what it was.
Right.
Get together with Cedric, run over to Echo Park, and he was never called himself a master, but our professor was Henrique Cristóvão Garcia do Nascimento. And I revere him to this day. He was so good and so non-phony and everything else. He didn't. No, I learned my capoeira in the streets of Rio, and I'm a real capoeirista.
Right. He taught, but you learned it in the streets, not in the schools.
No.
Yeah.
I can teach you what I know, and then you can teach people what you know.
Right.
But, he didn't have a school. Anyway, I got with him for 2 years, and then I began to expand. So it means that at this stage of the game, right here and now, I can say that I've been doing capoeira for at least the last 40 years. Aside from coming to Tai Chi to study with the inimitable Master Tom Tran, and also to study with Dr. Daniel Hoover and Dr. Jonathan Lynn.
Right. Okay. Yes.
So that's the end of my master's thing. I didn't mention the writers, but I'll say that in brief. Louise Merriweather and John W. Block. And if you've been as blessed as I have been in your life to have been able to get together with some masters, you've been lucky indeed.
Yes. And for those out there, think about the masters, the people that have helped you along your journey. Maybe you want to call them teachers or refer to them as masters because they're masters of their talent that they've sought to teach you, to lead you.
If it was nothing else other than how to think in order to save your sanity.
Yes.
I'm thinking of the person who said up in the park in San Francisco one night, a nickel and a nail can get you to heaven.
Nickel and a nail.
What? I'm thinking, what? Everybody's on some kind of drugs. I'm thinking he's on some kind of super LSD or something. But I thought about it. Well, if there was a heaven, and if it was possible to describe the elements needed to get to it,
right.
Why not a nickel and a nail? What else? Can you name something else? I don't know of anybody who's prayed himself into heaven. Wherever heaven is.
Yes. Well, there's a talent there. Well, also for those who know anything about monarch butterflies, we're nursing a monarch that lost one of its legs.
No, you are.
Oh, I'm nursing.
I gave up.
And this is the fourth day of the month.
Oh, wait, there's a backstory to that I have to. As you know, monarchs migrate. I think they go from wherever they go. Anyway, they're supposed to wind up someplace in Mexico, and we are living maybe in a corridor where monarchs come through, because we always find a few of them in a year. Back 40 back there, and on 2 occasions, be truthful, this is the second occasion. First occasion, we had a monarch who became a victim of the trail and fell off to one side, fluttering.
Yes, because one of the wings was broken. Had been bitten by something.
Yes, isn't that a shame?
It is. Just reminding us on.
The first one was buried. We got a tombstone out here.
Yeah.
And sometimes when the people who are interested in that kind of thing look at it, they say, "What's that?" And she says, "It's the monarch's grave."
Yes.
Okay, now, the second monarch who is not making it, I hate to say this because I know it hurts you.
Yeah.
The second monarch who doesn't seem to be making it, he may make it. He might make it, but he doesn't seem to be making it.
If he can't grow another leg, it's going to be kind of hard.
If he grows another leg and he can keep on sucking on the sugar...
sugar water on the sponge.
On the sponge.
Yeah.
Then he might be able to fall off and die peacefully.
At least he'll be fit.
Otherwise, he's going to be groaning and moaning all night long. I hate to think that this butterfly is going to keep us awake most of the night, because she's going to have to go out and check on him.
Well, the internet said you could bring him inside, get warm. Moving right along. Another moment in time. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Let's end this on the monarch level, which is high up there.
High up there.
High up there. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yes, indeed.
We've had fun.
Yes.
See you
on another moment in time with Odie and Zola and a little itness.
See y'all.
See ya. Okay.
I'm calling you up.
All of our friends. All right. Ciao.
Love it.